Seeing this is one thing. Is it also important to trust this?
I say it's supremely important. Seeing it without trusting it is no good, really. I mean, it really is, I'm so glad you mentioned that, because it really is the practical business of shifting trust from little old Douglas. We put our faith in little old Douglas or little old Richard or whoever, and this is fatal. I really am absolutely deeply convinced that Douglas is designed to let me down. Douglas, the thing that Douglas as such does with reference to his own capacity and know-how and so on, relying on Douglas is a disaster, really. Sooner or later, it just is nonsense and a disaster. And what is done consciously from my centre, by who I really am, by what I really am, I don't say it's perfect because it's out in the world and it's imperfect, but it's done incredibly better than little old Douglas. The know-how of who one is at centre is incredible, incredibly great compared with the imagined, fictitious know-how of that little one-year-old mirror. So the whole business, practical business of life is shifting trust from what you look like to what you are, from what you've been advertised to be to what you really, really, really are. In other words, it's a surrender to the will of God. To put it in other terms, it's surrender of what you look like to what you are. From the little old will of old Douglas, stupid as he is, to the will of the one. The know-how at our centre is fabulous. If you want to do anything well, I don't care what it is, so long as it's halfway legal, perhaps I should add, whatever you want to do, if you want to do it better, you do it from the source. And if you want to do it badly, you do it from the periphery. And it seems to me that anything is done superbly well. I think snooker, dancing, tennis, anything you do which is done with superb grace and expertise and flair, anything that's extremely well done is done, I would say, from the source. A great actor is acting from the source. I mean, Shakespeare's writing from the source. Mozart is composing from the source. Everything superbly done is done from the source. Inspired by what the Greeks used to call it, the muses. No, the ancient Greeks were not so conceited. The artists were not so conceited they thought they did. They were responsible for the extraordinary beauty of their creations. They were the product of the muse, divine inspiration. Of course, I admit that the snooker player off away from the table may be an awful chap, and the actor, when he's off stage, can be a disaster. But when he's on the job and doing the job superbly well, I think it stays by virtue of his union, however temporary, with the source of all originality. Yes.
So you're not only paying attention to the products of the source, but you're paying attention to the sources as well.
Oh, more than attend primarily to the source and the product will happen. If you attend to the product in negligence of the source, and the product won't be much good.
Seeing leads you back to the alone.
Well, this one is paradoxically the alone. Plotinus called it the alone. He talked about the flight of the alone to the alone. And you see, what is the purpose of life, Richard? What is the purpose? What's life all about? And as I see it, and as the great mystics saw it, all the great religions, the purpose of life is a simple one. It is conscious union with our source. And our source offers the incredible privilege of union with him or it or her. As Eckhart said, yes, God's in, I'm out, is what he said. Eckhart puts it very beautifully. He says, put on your jumping shoes. Not Adidas jumping shoes. He was a medieval. He put on your jumping shoes and jump into God. So it's jumping from your appearance to your reality. Put on your jumping shoes and jump into God. The great Dominican that he was, that's his way of putting it. I love that. Well, it's our business is to jump into the place we never left. And if you want to do anything well, do it from the centre, from where you are, not from where you ain't.